How many's glad to be here? Best night of the week. Come on now, Wednesday night. Woo. You know, when I think about life, how many like things that work? Like things that work, you know what I'm saying? How many like things that are broken? How many like things that don't work? You know, you ever buy something and you're like, okay, that doesn't work, okay? That does not do what they said it would do. Well, there are some things that will work. One thing that'll work, they put it on the screen, is this coming Friday at this coming Friday, 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock, we have a food distribution. There's literally hundreds of families that come through here. And just to give you a report, I met with our daycare workers last night, if you saw it on Facebook. Just a wonderful group of people. There is a lot of momentum in our community. They're like, please open your doors. Please get them open now. People drop by on a regular basis. We want our child in your center. And they're starting to move in Friday morning because we want to get DCF to approve it, the fire marshal to approve it, for us to open up the doors so that the families that are watching kids, VPK kids, nursery kids, babies, they're all over the place. So I'm telling you, people are multiplying. Have you seen that? Come on now. But on Friday, it's going to be a great day. They're moving in, and we have a community outreach on the same day. So we're going to just work it out. Hallelujah. You know what I'm saying? Some of them people might need some food. So let's just bless the Lord. But if you want to volunteer, this is a part of our maybe you signed up Sunday morning on that team card that you were given. You might be sitting, or you might be using it for a fan right now, because we did turn the AC down, all right? So don't worry. There we go. But that card that's on the seat, maybe let God speak to you. Join a team. Look at your neighbor and say, join a team. One of our teams is our outreach team, and one part of that team is them that do food distribution on a monthly basis, and it is a ministry of love. It is a massive ministry of love. Show up this Friday. They will work, serve you. It's an amazing thing. You'll get to pray with people. You'll get to haul a lot of groceries, I'm telling you, and put a lot of food in people's cars. And the people that do that on a regular basis, like, yeah, you ain't lying, you know what I'm saying? It's a beautiful thing to provide a specific need in people's lives. So if you're one of those people, come out this Friday. But let's talk about what works. How many's ever bought something that didn't work? You're like, okay, didn't work. How many bought something you're like, man, I'd buy 3 or 4 of them this week? You know what I'm saying? Like, well, I need another one of those. So let me show you a couple of things. You ever seen those as seen on TV ads? Here we go. Come on, let's show some of that. Here's a beautiful one. You know, it's called the egg sitter. I don't know why you would need one, but you know, it's amazing. Sit on an egg without breaking it. I don't know anybody who would actually try that. I don't know if that's false advertising, but as seen on TV, if you need something soft, there's this thing called the egg sitter, and they say it works. Now, this one's probably the funniest one I found. This one's called Instantly Control Your Family. I have no idea. I mean, I found that, I'm like, are you kidding? With only the power of your mind. It is breath spray. It says no costly brain implants, no illegal doping. Make your family do, say anything you like for less than the cost of a can of beans. Control your family with this mouth spray. Hello? Come on now. Come on, can you just praise the, I'm just kidding. All right, here's one. Maybe someone bought this one. I don't know. It's called the Fat Magnet. Makes meals healthier. You just simply freeze, then skim the surface and fat is gone. Removes fat, cholesterol. Wow, that just makes me want to laugh. You know what I'm saying? Or how about this one? Okay, that one's got to work. If that don't work, then there's this one. It's called the Lizard Cam. I kind of snickered at this one, and then I realized, oh, it's just a camera that you stick down the sink to look at stuff that's down in there when you. Yeah, it's $39.99 as seen on TV. There you go. Okay, how about this one? This one is called, don't read into this too much. It's called Eliminate the Odor of Flatulence in Your Bed. Okay, it didn't say the bad word. Order now, $29.95 plus shipping and handling. Not available in stores. They give you 3 different colors, twin size, also available in queen and king. It's called the Better Marriage Blanket, okay? There you go. Okay, how about this one? This works, okay? Perfect Polly. I'm trying not to laugh, but it's motion activated. It's like amazingly lifelike parakeet. It moves and sings so that you don't have to like feed it or clean up after it. It's a fake bird, you know what I'm saying? And it is $10 plus shipping and handling. You buy one Perfect Polly pet and get what? You get the second one free. Come on now. Ooh, now this is the one that I laugh so much in my office. I don't know why. I don't know why. I don't know why. I mean, it's like you trap this, my dog would lose its mind, you know what I'm saying? How many say that doesn't work? Come on now. You buy that, that's probably not gonna work. But okay, yeah, get that off the screen. Now that I got your attention, we're gonna start a series called Love Works, because I actually believe that love does work. And the reason why love doesn't work for some people, we're gonna make some discoveries in the next few weeks, that we see things in a different way. And we see things without looking through Scripture. Paul writes a letter to a church that's struggling with a lot of different things. And he writes it and he pens this down. In 1 Corinthians chapter 13, he says, love is patient, love is kind, doesn't envy, doesn't boast, it's not proud, doesn't dishonor others, it's not self-seeking, it's not easily angered, it keeps no record of wrongs. Love does not delight in evil, but rejoices with the truth. It always protects, always trusts, always hopes, always perseveres. Love never fails. Say that with me. Love never fails. Maybe you need to write that down and write that down and put that in your visor, on the back side of your visor, whenever you have to put the visor down for the sun, and maybe that scripture just pops up in your mind and says, love never fails. Then he says this in verse 13. He says, and these three remain: faith, hope, and love. But the greatest of these is love. So if the Bible says the greatest of these three attributes is love, then if it's the greatest, it has to work. If it's the greatest, it has to work in every situation, in every person, in every relationship, in every life. If it's framed in the context of 1 Corinthians chapter 13, because he defines what the truth of love is. So many give up on love, so many don't embrace love, and it's because what they thought was love is what brought pain. And when it brought pain, they're like, there's no way I could love, there's no way I could experience this, but Jesus came, and the only reason he came is because he loved you. And his love was so great that he chose to die for you. And not just die for you, he says, I'm getting up and I'm gonna come back for you. So his love doesn't change, his love doesn't end. His love has always existed. It does not lie, does not dishonor, does not boast. It always has something good in mind, and that good in mind is you. So let's talk about love a little bit tonight, and maybe think about the main idea. The main idea is this: love works because love never fails. And when we look at that, we look at, we're going to talk about God's love, but let's talk about love in a generic way. The simple facts that research has shown, if love works, so love has been proven to improve your health. It is scientifically proven that the people in love have fewer colds, heal faster, and feel less physical pain. And love works. If my health is better, then guess what? Love works. Love helps us feel understood. There's something wonderful about sharing life with someone who understands you, when life is so complicated, we have someone that can understand sometimes you just have to laugh at life, amen? Sometimes you just have to laugh at the things we don't understand. Why? Because we have a greater picture of who we do understand. We have a greater understanding that his love can shift and change everything. So when I talk about love tonight, it can be love in any relationship, but it has to be love that starts from heaven. It has to be love that impacts us in a personal way, because there is really nobody on this planet that can understand us any more than our God can. There's nobody on this planet that has faced more than our God when he was on this world, and when he walked through all the temptation and all the things that he went through, and he was sinless, and then he hung on a tree and he died and he rose from the dead. So love is something that he feels for us, and he not just feels for us because he understands what we go through. He understands suffering. He understands pain. He understands betrayal. He understands hurt. He understands the pain of words, that those that are close. He understands being abandoned because everybody left him. He understands people that talked bad about him, that used to talk good about him. He understands all those things. So if God understands those things, guess what? What I'm walking through is nothing that he hasn't. So he's able to bring understanding to our lives. So love doesn't just, research says love helps us feel understood. Love gives us shared experiences. Love lifts your mood. It's proven that people that are in love are less depressed. You see someone that's in love, they seem to have a spring in their step sometimes. I've seen some people that recently, I'm not gonna say their names, but they just have a wonderful spring. They're like, ooh, and it doesn't matter what phase of life they are in, they just, they're just a little bit happier. And that's just, that just proves what science shows. So also lifts your mood, and love gives us more time. Yeah, that's right. People who are in love, guess what? They live longer. Everyone say longer. Come on, you got to think about this. When we talk about love, man, I'm in love with Jesus. And since I'm in love with him, guess what? He can understand my health. He can understand my mental health, my physical health. He can understand my struggles in every possible way. He can extend life in ways that nobody else on the planet can. He can do more in my life than anybody else can. So I've got to understand that my love for him actually is going to, I love Jesus. Guess what? One day when I die, I'm going to see him face to face. Oh, isn't that a beautiful thing? So it doesn't end. I have this thing called eternity to look forward to. How many's looking forward to eternity? Some are like, man, I ain't looking forward to it, man. I want to, okay, let's go on. Here we go. So when it comes to love, if love fuels healthy, let's talk about communication. Because if there's this thing called love, then you have to understand that love has to be communicated. And sometimes we have what I consider sometimes in relationships, and it doesn't matter, relationship with somebody that we're married to, somebody that we're dating, or relationship with our boss, relationship with our kids, relationship with any human being on this planet. If there's a relationship with any human being on this planet, then guess what? Love works simply because of this. Love is patient. Why do I say that? Because communication, anytime that you are in a relationship with anybody, how many know it takes time? Time is your best friend in a relationship. We live in a world where people are impatient. When Paul said love is patient, patient is to persevere patiently and bravely in enduring misfortunes and troubles. This is what he's talking about. He's saying love is patient. So if I'm gonna have a relationship with somebody, I have to be patient. Why? Because they're gonna frustrate me. Why? Because I am going to, sometimes there's gonna be situations that come up that I wanna say things I probably shouldn't say. Been there? Shake your head if you're saying, somebody like, I already did it today. Come on now. I already opened up my mouth and said, so I wish I could take it back, but guess what? I can't. So there you go. And we live in a world that is such a microwave culture that they, boom, 60 seconds, it's hot, it's ready, let's go. You know what I'm saying? It's that overnight bride type thing, like I'm in this relationship and it's 100 miles an hour, when we should be living in this crock pot culture, Mom would put that crock pot out and put that hunk of meat in there and it would stay all day long. I call it a smoker, and now that sounds like a weird thing, but I have this smoking machine thing, okay, here we go. I put a piece of meat in there and it takes 12 hours, you know what I'm saying? Low and slow, if you understand where I'm going with that. Boy, that sounds weird, but healthy communication starts with understanding that I've got to be patient. Everyone say patient. Let me help you out. There's a generation of kids next door. Guess what? They don't know what patience is. Hello? Come on now. They want to be in a relationship yesterday. And they don't want to just be in a relationship yesterday. They want that thing to be in the greenhouse and grow overnight. Boom, yes, I am in love. They're telling people they love them and they're like 12 years old. You ever ask some girl to go out with you and you send her that piece of paper that says, Dad, do you love me, yes or no? And then they down the middle, they're like, and then maybe I put maybe, and they're like, I don't even know what that is, you know what I'm saying? What does that word love mean, okay? They don't even know, yes, I do. And they have this sparse idea of what it is. Students are sometimes, I worked in youth ministry for 25 years, so I don't trust any of them. I tell them that when I preach to them. I say, I don't trust you at all. Why? Because you have hormones, and you have no control of those hormones at most moments, and you will find a way. Not love will find a way, you will find a way. So my job as a pastor is for you not to find a way. My job is for you to break up today. My job is for you to wait till tomorrow. That's what I would always tell them. They're like, that's terrible, Pastor. I'm like, come on now. I preached a message one Wednesday night called Dump the Chump. You know what I'm saying? You're like, I'm not kidding. I preached at a camp in Canada, and I told these kids, I'm like, hey, if you don't know how to break up with somebody, then give me the phone and I will help you out. You know what I'm saying? At the end of the service, this girl comes up and she says, hey, would you break up with my boyfriend with me? I'm like, get that joker on the phone, let's go. It was the funniest thing I've ever done. Jenny was there. Parents came on the last day. It's in Canada. It's like a 6-night camp. I was like, man, this is long. I preached forever, but the parents came last night. This lady was weeping because I got that joker on the phone. I said, hey, is this? Yes. I'm going, are you kind of dating? Yes. I said, guess what? Don't call her. Don't text her. Don't Facebook her. She don't want you ever. It's done. Over. And then I heard profanity. I went, click. And then I handed her the phone, and she was mortified. I can't believe you did that. You asked me to. What do you think I was gonna do? You know what I'm saying? You gotta think about this thing. And kids, now let's talk about, let's be real. In any church, students, let's say this, adults are grown-up students. And there are adults that act the same way. Check your head if you understand what I'm saying. It's like, Pastor, why are you having this conversation? Because there's people in the house sometimes that need it. Probably should preach it on Sunday, but let's go on. But so I'm like, yeah, they need it, but let's lean in a little bit, and maybe the person online will stay online with us. Maybe we should say to some adults, you know what their best friend is? Patience. You know why? Because over a period of time, you can't overlook discoveries that you make. You can't overlook how they treat their parents. You can't overlook what their car looks like. You can't overlook, do they have a job? You can't overlook, can they keep a job? You can't overlook how they talk to you and treat you, and the small things that they say to you, because it's just a small thing that they do now. Later on, guess what? It could be this huge thing. It could be magnified and way over. There are red flags that God wants us to see in any relationship, and we have to be able to identify those. And the funny thing is, sometimes we have friends that identify them and say, that person ain't for you. And they're like, nuh-uh, I can feel this, you know what I'm saying? I just feel the Lord all over this, hello? No, that's Instagram, that ain't the Lord. Come on now, that's just something let's not call it hormones, but let's just say it's something else. I always tell people, if you really wanna know what the person's like, then go see their parents. If their parents are still, together and they have parents that are around, go see their parents, because, I went and saw my wife's parents, and we got engaged. Her mom would ask me what I wanted to eat before we'd come over, like, hey, what do you want to eat, son? I didn't ask anybody else. Like, man, what am I gonna cook for you? I'm like, that's a good mother-in-law, hello? So when it comes to finding a good wife, or finding a good spouse, or just finding a good friend, we have to be patient with it. The reason why we have to be patient with it, because when you're patient, then you can understand. Then you can communicate. Because it takes time. I'm telling you, I still have not figured out people. I've been pastoring people for a long time, but pastoring adults, Jenny and I tell her, I said, man, I just haven't figured out people. I'm just telling you, sometimes you think it's one thing and then it's another. You know what I'm saying? You got people like that? Shake your head if you understand what I'm saying. You're like, yeah, it's just like up, down, you know what I'm saying? People are moody. Hello? They float with the weather. I think I'm being too real tonight, okay? Sometimes they float with the weather, and they perceive everything and have an idea and an opinion about. I talked about that Sunday, like everybody has an opinion, but not everybody's opinion needs to be heard. Hello? Oh, that's just a good place to celebrate. Oh, that makes Pastor feel good. But what am I saying? When it comes to people, in any relationship, boss, with friends, with neighbors. Come on now. You got neighbors? They live next to you. You invite them to church, and then they show up at church, and they're like, "You go to that church? Wow!" You know what I'm saying? Or you just, you think you know your neighbors, and then you're like, "Wait a minute, I really don't know my neighbors." Hello? We get to know our neighbors over time. I have several neighbors that live around me, and I try my best to try to just really reach out and encourage. And I don't know nothing about them hardly. Hello? And I've been there 3 years. So it takes time, and communication takes time. You can't, and here's the thing, when it comes to a man or a woman, the way that they think, they're on two different planets. If you haven't figured that out, on two different planets in most things, because there's this, you got two sides of your brain. The way that God created us, I wish he created us with one brain, and we all thought the same about everything. You know what I'm saying? We all wanted the same type of food. We all had the same idea about the weather. We all had the same determination in life. But there's people in this room that they think on their left side of their brain. Everything's left side, and everything's very analytical, and they tend to separate emotion from every decision. It's just bam. It's just flat out, woo, they just tell it like it is. You know what I'm saying? No emotion attached to it, just woo, there it is. And you're like, oh, I can't believe you said that. You know, we just gotta, because you're thinking on your right side, and you tend to attach emotion to everything, and everything's dramatic, and everything is just that. It's just like, it's over the top. You know what I'm saying? Because we're thinking on two different sides of our brains. I wish God gave us one type of brain, but I love the fact that we're so different. I love the fact that some of us are introverted and some of us are extroverted. I love the fact that some of us we're over the top. We don't have a problem in crowds. We're just, and then some of us are quiet. If you haven't figured out, your pastor's one of those quiet types. I like to I tell people that, and they're like, you are lying. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, hey, I know what I am on the Enneagram, and I know what I am on the disc, and I ain't telling you. You have to go to What's Next to find out, okay? Yeah, that's a good plug to go there, because they talk about me in one of those sessions, and everyone thinks I'm something else, but then they're like, oh, he is? Okay, here we go. So when it comes to your makeup, how about Jenny and I? We're in a relationship. We've been married 29 years. We'll be married 30 years this year, July the 28th, 1990. Man, that's awesome. Whew, I don't know where she's taking me, but I'm going. So our makeup, I'm introverted and she's extroverted. That means, I tend to not handle conflict. I tend to whatever, wreck the car. Oh, well, you know what I'm saying? Do this, it's just, it's whatever. You know what I'm saying? It's like, I'm like, it's just real easy going about certain things. I try not to freak out about everything because it costs me emotional energy to do that. So I just, I'm just like, it's just the way I am. But my wife, she's very extroverted, and she tends to be very direct at times. You can tell on stage. People are like, wow, oh my goodness. I'm like, preach, woman, preach. Okay, so she tends to be passionate about life and tell it like it is. I love that. Why? Because we gel really well together. You know what I'm saying? It's like we have these margins for each other in life. It's just a fun way to live. But when it comes to communication, if you understand the person, if you're in a relationship, if your boss is a very extroverted type person, you need to understand what their makeup is. If your kids are, some of you have kids and they're super emotional. They're like, whoa, right over. If we just react according to the emotion, we may miss understanding who they really are. That's what takes time. That's why love is patient. I think that's why Paul said, hey, you understand love is patient. We have to be patient with one another, and that's the key to communication. So when it comes to communication, healthy communication is simple. It basically makes for healthy relationships. But if we have unhealthy communication just adds into an unhealthy relationship. A healthy relationship is one that focuses on serving others, on what others want, on being concerned with others. An unhealthy relationship's like, come serve me. I want what I want. It's my time. It's my turn. I'm picking. This is where we're going. I'm doing, and that would be considered unhealthy. So what does healthy communication look like? The first thing I think healthy communication looks like is one that listens first and then seeks to understand. How many know listening is hard? Let me do that again. How many know listening is hard? The activity of listening is hard sometimes because it's more than, you can't listen and do this. It's really hard because you're sending this nonverbal communication thing that I could give a rip about what you're saying, but on the inside you're like, you look at him and go, what did I say? And you look at him and go, what did I say? You're like, 'cause that's all that you heard because you were engrossed with something else. That can happen to anybody and anywhere on the planet, because if we want our communication to be healthy, then we have to just, okay, I'm gonna try to understand. I'm gonna slow down, I'm gonna be patient. Everyone say patient. Now take a deep breath. Sometimes you have to just take a deep breath, sit down at the table, or sit down with whoever you're having a relationship, and listen. Listen with your eyes, listen with your ears, not with your lips. You can't listen with your lips. Have you figured that out? James said this, my dear brothers and sisters, in James chapter 1, verse 19. Take note of this. Everyone should be quick to listen, slow to speak, slow to become angry, because human anger does not produce the righteousness that God desires. God gave us 2 ears and 1 mouth, I think, for a reason, so that we can listen twice as much as we talk. Sometimes it's easier to say something, it's easier to respond with something, rather than the greatest response sometimes you can have is no response. It's listening and waiting. And I'm learning that lesson sometimes. It's easy to interject because of the type of personality I am. I'm one of those men that actually, okay, you can tell me what the issue is and I can give you 5 things you can do about it. Shake your head if you're a man and you understand what I'm saying. It's like your head's full of answers. Someone talks, like, I can tell you, do this. Okay, get rid of that. Okay, don't do that. Okay, and you want to say that. But sometimes you don't need to say that. Sometimes you don't need to say anything. You just need to lean in, listen a little bit, so that you can understand, so that your communication is more about understanding less than speaking. So if you look in the Bible and you look at the stories of Jesus, do you notice that he doesn't talk a lot? Do you notice he only talks like when he's preaching? They have these sermons written down, but they don't have this huge interjection of what he does with people. Sometimes you just listen. I love the part when they bring this lady and they drop her and they're like, hey, this is what she did. You know, he's supposed to have an opinion because he's a rabbi. And what does he do? He bends down and he starts writing in the ground, you know what I'm saying? And doesn't say a word. And then everyone disappears and he looks at her and goes, hey, where'd they all go? You know what I'm saying? Then it becomes very personal because he wanted to communicate to her. He didn't have to communicate to them. So when it comes to communication, healthy communication is one that seeks to understand and seeks to listen. The second thing, healthy communication is motivated by love. Our motivation for communication matters. What motivates us? If we're motivated by emotion, then emotion's not love. Love is something that seeks that says, I want better for you, not better from you. Does that make sense? I want better for you, so I'm gonna listen, but I wanna be able to speak life and not death. It's easy to say the negative thing. It's not so easy to say the positive thing when you're trying to figure out what you can say that's positive. Because sometimes you have to, not lie, but sometimes you have to look for the good in the situation so that you can bring the atmosphere up, so you can bring encouragement in the situation rather than push down. I lived in a house sometimes that my parents pushed down and told me what I was doing wrong all the time, and you felt beat up all the time, and all you wanted to hear as a kid was, good job. You did good at that. And just one simple phrase can actually bring encouragement and add to a relationship. And it takes what? Patience. I think that's what Paul's talking about. It's just be patient in your relationship. Be patient in what you say. Be patient in the motivation that's behind it. Peter said this in 1 Peter chapter 4. He says, above all, love each other deeply because love covers a multitude of sins. So if love is my motivating factor, then I have to love that person in relationship, and I have to be willing to forgive. Ouch. I have to be willing to say, it's okay, it's a mistake, it can be fixed, it can be replaced, and not make it all about the issue that took place, whether it's a wrecked car or or something we bought we shouldn't have bought, or something that just, it happens. I mean, life happens sometimes, you know what I'm saying? So healthy communication has to be motivated by love. And if love covers up a multitude of sins, guess what? One thing that causes us to be in a negatively motivated relationship is conflict. You'll have conflict with family members. How many's ever had conflict with family members? How many's had conflict with extended family members? How many's had conflict with cousins, nephews, nieces? How many's had conflict with people in your house? How many's had conflict with yourself? Oh, that's a loaded question. Here we go. So I got you to wave at everything. Here we go. What are you saying, Pastor? Healthy communication, when it comes to conflict, you have to decide how you're going to respond before you respond. In Ephesians, Paul said this. He said, in your anger, do not sin. So he's telling them, in your anger, wait a minute, when you get angry, don't sin. Don't let the sun go down while you're still angry. Don't give the devil a foothold. If you have conflict, don't let the day go by without resolving it. Don't allow the divide to take place. The enemy wants to do what? If we understand his plan is to separate and divide and conquer our lives in a way that he brings destruction to any and all relationships that he has. He does that through communication. He does that through us misunderstanding, through us having perceptions that aren't real. He does that through the things that we want to say that we shouldn't say. He does that by getting us to respond in a negative way to conflict. He said, in your anger. He doesn't say, do not be angry. He says, in your anger, don't sin. But when you do get angry, do something about it. He doesn't say, take it out on the person. He doesn't say, blame the person. He doesn't say, hurt the person. He says, what? He says, resolve. Don't let the sun go down. If you let the sun go down, then you can give the devil a foothold. What he's doing is he's dividing, he's getting a position that he can divide with you. So let's talk about negative ways that you can respond to conflict. There's negative ways. One negative way is you can simply just attack the person rather than talk about the issue. Sometimes people get so emotional and just hold on to your seatbelts, it gets better. Sometimes people get they take things personally and they don't talk about the situation and they don't talk about the frustration. They talk about the person. And if you talk about the person, what happens? You attack the person, and especially sometimes attacking their ability or attacking who their family is or attacking. I've seen people attack other family members verbally in front of people. Just criticize them, like I can't believe, blah, 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 and then say different, and I'm like, woo, that doesn't feel good at all. You've been around that? It just doesn't feel good, doesn't sound good, and it doesn't help the situation. You will have disagreements. Understand this, in any relationship, in a work relationship, family relationship, a marriage relationship, dating relationship, in any relationship that you will have disagreements. You have to decide, I'm gonna do what Paul and Barnabas did. Because Paul and Barnabas got in an argument over one guy named John Mark. And the other guy's like, no, he left. I'm not taking him on my team. You take him. And they had this huge dispute. And in the end, it said they agreed to disagree. He sat there and said, hey, we're just gonna agree to disagree. Doesn't mean you're right and I'm wrong. It just means we're not gonna fight about it. We're not gonna let it divide us. We're just gonna disagree about it. There is always gonna be disagreements. Hold on, lean in a little bit. There's always gonna be disagreements in church. Why? Because some people like brown, some people like blue, some people like it hot, some people like it cold, some people like it loud, some people don't like it loud, some people like it bright, some people like it dark, some people like it. Everybody has a certain opinion of what it is. They can disagree about songs, about anything. They can disagree about what the pastor preaches on. Just come back another Wednesday and it'll get better, okay? But disagreements will exist, but it's what we do that matters. Negative way to respond to conflict is to yell and just show anger. Anytime anybody raises their voice, I mean, I've heard people, and I'm like, oh my goodness, hello? Okay. If you raise your voice, are you really being heard? That's the question you gotta ask yourself. If you raise your voice, are you really being heard? Or are you just raising your voice because it feels good? That's a negative way to respond to conflict. If you get angry enough, you could start exhibiting destructive behavior. Destructive behavior is when you get physical. And when I say physical, that means physical in a physical way, but physical in picking up objects and throwing them or doing different things. If you're one of those people that their anger gets the best of them and you hit things, throw things, slam things, wreck things, trash things, do those types of things, then you need deeper counseling or deeper talking to somebody so you can talk about the anger that's in your life and understand that love conquers everything. So if love conquers everything, then I can deal with it in any relationship by choosing in advance not to show anger, not to be physical, and not to go to the other end of the spectrum. Because some people go to the other end of the spectrum in a negative way. They show no emotion or no anything. They just shut down. They just kind of forget the world. They're just like, I'm out. I grew up in a house like that. It was like, do they talk to each other? They're not around, like they're in the same house, but they're passing by each other and nobody ever, it's like the silent treatment, you know? And that's what teenagers do sometimes, like, oh, you told me you said no, so they like act like you don't exist. You know what I do? I just make it like I do exist. Hey, why? And just get, you know, just be, that's terrible, isn't it? Come on now. Why? Because when someone wants to be silent, withdraw, shut down, and what they're doing is they're treating the other person like, I'm not talking to you. You know what that is? That's called a negative way of handling conflict. And if we learn to operate in negative ways, then what we're doing is we're dividing a relationship rather than building a relationship. And if you look in Scripture, the only reason Jesus came is for relationship. So if he came for a relationship and sin was the thing that divided, he had to do what? He had to die so that he could bring relationship together, so that life could exist, so that we could have life together, so that we could have this thing called community, so that you could join a circle and love some people. Come on, put your hands together. You're like, Pastor, you just put that in there. Why we believe in community. We believe that God's got a plan for you, and it's not just you by yourself. It's not you just coming and sitting. It's you doing life together because it makes you better. Here, we're going to close here just in a minute, but let's talk about positive ways to respond to conflict, because sometimes it's easy to identify the negative ways. How about a positive way? And this is a simple way. How about talking about it? Like just talking about it. Like just trying to solve the problem or the attitude, or not having an attitude towards the situation, not placing blame on the situation. Sometimes we problem solve by saying, okay, here's the issue, rather than listening and understanding and trying to say, okay, how do I understand what you're feeling in this situation? I hope this is helping you. Because sometimes a lot of our decisions, and a lot of the way that we respond, stems from how we feel, stems from our emotion. And as a believer, we don't suppress our emotion. It's okay to be emotional. And we are emotional people. We are Pentecostals, hello? We are gonna shout, holler, run the building if we want. We're gonna speak in other tongues. We're gonna watch people get healed. Why? Because we are emotional people. I mean, there's nothing wrong with being emotional. I think if Jesus was alive last weekend, he would have cheered when Patrick Mahomes got a touchdown. He would have cheered when the Chiefs won. He would have cheered when he would have just been like, yes, yes, running. Why? Because he was extremely emotional about good things. So talk about it. Seek to understand. Pray. Whenever you have conflict, I think that the simplest thing we can do is just simply pray. God, help me to understand. God, I don't know if they meant what they meant. Man, it didn't feel good. It hurt. Lord, help me not to hold it against them. Maybe pray a prayer like that. God, help me to not make it about me, but make it about a relationship that I have. So pray about it. Have a plan before you ever get into a disagreement or a conflict that allows you to make space for God, allows you to make space for understanding, allows you to make space so that there's no division in that relationship. And sometimes the hardest thing is just when you know that someone's wrong in their situation, is to keep loving. Keep loving. I sat with somebody today and they're like, And they just wept. And they said, Pastor, you don't know what they did. And I looked at them and I said, here's what I do know. I know it's infecting you. I know it's impacting you. But I know this, God cares about you. He loves you. And you can allow that relationship to destroy you. You can allow that relationship to define you. Or you can choose higher. You can say, God, I'm gonna release it. I'm gonna forgive it. I'm gonna let go of it because I can't control it. Because whenever I try to control it, all I'm doing is adding frustration. I'm building a wall. Jesus, I don't want those things in my life. I'm gonna choose to be better. I prayed with that person. He walked out of my office this afternoon. He goes, you're right, Pastor. Man, I need to come see you more often. Said, doors open, let's go. You know what I'm saying? Why? Because sometimes we just need someone to encourage us. And that's what I'm doing tonight, is just to encourage you that when conflict comes, get ready, be prepared. There is a simple way to respond to it by praying and keeping it private and saying, okay, God, I'm gonna allow you to work through this thing. So tonight, I don't know where you are in relationships. Maybe you're in a place with your kids, your family, or situations where you feel, man, there's issue, there's tension, there's hurt. That's real. It's called life. It's the struggle of life. But let's look back at what Paul said. Love is patient. Relationships that go through hurt, that go through pain, that go through suffering, that go through struggle, that go through these different things, those things don't happen overnight. Those things don't end up like that overnight. So in order for there to be healing, you have to be, and this is the hard word, you got to realize this, you have to be patient. You have to choose the road of patience. You have to say relationship is higher than anything else. I have to be patient, and I have to choose to be someone that communicates. So tonight, close your eyes all across the building. I'm gonna just pray for you. We're gonna sing a simple song tonight. And maybe right where you're sitting, let's make it super simple. You can come to the front if you need prayer in a few moments, and you can stand and worship. Maybe you just need to lift your hands and say, God, here I am. I'm going through something, and I just need you to show up in it. But I just believe that the Holy Spirit will speak to you. And if you're in one of those situations where you don't know what to do, that the word of the Lord for you tonight is this: be patient. Let love rule everything. Let love cover your life. Let love cover that relationship. Let love cover that struggle. Let love cover that thing that you're going through, and allow God to touch you personally first before it ever changes in that relationship, because the first place that he can start with love is on you. That's why Paul said, love is patient. And he said, there is faith, there is hope, there is love. The greatest of these things is love. And that's what Jesus wants for you. That's what he wants for your relationships. So Jesus, we love you. We thank you. We thank you for your presence. We thank you for your power. We thank you for your glory, Jesus. We thank you, Lord, that you're so good. God, in this moment, God, we give these relationships to you. In this moment of worship, God, we thank you, Lord, that love covers all. We thank you, Lord, that if we're in a conflicted situation in a relationship, God, and we're facing struggle, and some of us may be going home tonight or going to work tomorrow, and we don't know what to say, we don't know what to do. But God, I pray, Lord, that love would cover all. Jesus, we just honor you. This next few moments as we just sing this song together, would you just maybe slip your hands right where you are, maybe worship him. If you need specific prayer, we're going to open up this altar and allow you to come, and I'll pray with you. Our staff will pray with you. We just believe that God's got more for you. Will you allow his presence to cover your life? Maybe you're in great relationships. Get prepared for what may come your way and say, God, I want you to increase my love. God, I want you to increase my love for you. Jesus, I want your love to cover my life. Come on, let's worship him tonight.
Thanks for watching. If you'd like to support this ministry, you can check us out at oceanwayag.com and click the Give tab.